Hello and welcome to the Spark London podcast. Real people, real talk, real estate. I'm your host, Vince Simpson, founder of Spark London, project strategists and managers. Join me as I sit down with industry experts, leaders, consultants, specialists, and perhaps even the odd contrarian. Please note that nothing in our episodes constitutes as advice. It's purely for your entertainment and inspiration only. Now, put the kettle on, make a cup of tea or your favourite overpriced ground coffee, and let's meet today's guests. Hello and welcome back to another fantastic episode of the Spark London podcast. Real people, real talk, real estate. Now, so far, we've interviewed founders, directors, and today I am joined by what I think is a first, two founding directors who are also sisters. So today I'm joined by Frankie and Maxine Pringle of Studio Pringle. Guys, how are we?
Good. How are
Great,
you?
thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm actually the same as you guys because all three of us weirdly are fasting today,
Yes.
right? So we've all had a little bit too much coffee and we're all a little bit like
jittery,
that.
yeah.
A tiny little bit. Listen, guys, it's great to have you here. Now, full disclosure, we've not worked together, but we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
We always seem to bump into each other at events.
Yes.
And every time we do bump into each other, we have great chats and a good laugh. And I really like your story, so that's why I wanted to get you onto the podcast. So it's great to have you here. If you've watched a few, and I think you have, you'll know the format.
Yeah.
I always like our audience to understand who they're talking to or who they're listening to. So if I could ask for a little bit of an abridged 5-minute kind of career history, because I think you've got a great story which will get us to Studio Pringle. So let's start with you, Frankie. Let's kind of hear about you.
So I decided to do architecture when I was about 18. Advised not to by Jack, who is the
Our
other
dad.
member of Studio Pringle.
And you've got a
who's
great
our dad.
family heritage, and we're dying to hear about that as well.
Yeah. But I did it anyway. Studied at the Bartlett School of Architecture, UCL, which was tough but a great experience. And then when I came out of that for part one, I went to work at Allsop Spark, which was amazing. Had a really great experience there. Then went back and did my master's, and then came back out and worked for Pringle Brandon, which then became Perkins Will.
Yeah.
Specialised in office fit
Who
out.
are those guys? No one's heard of those.
Specialised in office fit out, and then went to work for WeWork for a couple of years, which was an amazing experience, a real roller coaster ride, but really great.
I can imagine.
And then COVID hit, and then so WeWork had a bit of a tough time. Everyone was made redundant, which was a bit scary at that time.
Tough time.
And then I went to work for the government during COVID, which
DWP, wasn't it?
was DWP, which was not something I'd ever really seen myself doing, but it was such a great experience. And I worked on the REAP program, which was the rollout of 300 job centres, which was just something I'd never experienced.
A monster. It sounds like a monster.
Yeah. And then we decided to start Studio Pringle.
Fantastic. That
in
was
the midst
very
of
abridged.
COVID. Yeah, it was very abridged. Yeah.
And we'll come back
I know
to...
we've got two of us, so it's got to be fast.
Yes. We'll definitely come back to that.
Yeah.
But Maxine, tell us about you.
Yeah, so similar sort of story, but also very different. But I started my educational sort of university career at art school. So my background, I say, is in art. I loved art at A-levels and sort of wanted to go down that route. So I went to art school, did a foundation year, did all the different things that you do over the sort of first term, and then had to choose and specialise in something. I couldn't choose because I loved it all. And then I got some advice from our dad who said, if you want to do all of it, you can do that at architecture school. So I ended up at architecture school, the Bartlett, same as Frankie, loved it, qualified as an architect, and then looked for an arty architect that I could go and work for.
Sure.
So sought down Will Allsop, who I'd sort of known his work during my A-levels actually, and said, I only want to work for you. So will you have me? And managed to get a placement over a summer. And then basically never left after that. And I worked for him for about 15 years.
That's a bold entry. That's brilliant.
Yeah, no, it was
Respect that.
good. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Worked on some amazing projects. Loved working with him. You know, obviously he's a maverick, and you know, he became a real sort of figure in my life.
Yeah.
And then we sort of came to a crossroads. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years before I left the company. So things were a bit different. And then when Jack sort of decided he wanted to start something different, something new, we were all at a moment, weren't we?
Yeah, we were
At a
all
crossroads, really.
The
yeah.
stars aligned, as some would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Or the universe made it happen, perhaps.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we all sort of, we're looking for something at the same time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that gets us to Studio Pringle.
Yeah. So
Absolutely brilliant.
so Jack had run previous. So Jack is our dad, and he had.
I
run
love how you
previ-
call him Jack. Like that. But I understand why. I do
It's
get
an
it, yeah.
agreed strategy.
Well,
Well,
I
yeah,
guess,
we've
Yeah.
had that conversation quite a few times, and
Interestingly, sorry, side anecdote. I've got a feeling that I went to Pringle Brandon's office,
On Bonhill Street.
I think so,
Yeah.
years and years ago, and done a tender interview, and I think your
Oh,
dad
really?
was part of the client
Yeah,
team when I was
well,
a contractor.
that would probably be the
So,
case.
and the names that you've mentioned, and obviously Jack, very well known.
Yeah.
But let's get to Studio Pringle, because that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So Jack had worked. So he started a company in the 80s called Pringle Brandon. They've become very successful in workplace fit out, but other things as well. Then in, I think, 2012, he sold it to Perkins Will.
Yep.
And then they sort of diversified a bit. So they do a whole range of things now, but they started going into base build and various other things.
Yep.
But then during COVID, Jack decided he didn't want to do that anymore.
He was always only going to do a certain amount of time. It was,
Yeah.
you know, the moment came, and he thought COVID was the great time to do
Yeah.
it, because
And he,
We'll come back to cycles, because we had a chat downstairs about that, didn't we? And,
Yeah.
and timing is everything in this. In this
Yeah.
industry.
absolutely, yeah.
it was a real moment of change over COVID, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
he decided to bail out, and he wanted to start something new.
Yeah, and so immediately we received a business plan.
Literally the next day. And we were like, really? Okay.
And then we started the conversations, and that actually took quite a long time.
Yeah.
We were deciding what we wanted to do, what we wanted to work in. You know,
we
Jack
wanted
was
to
very
be.
keen that he didn't want to only do workplace. He wanted to do different, other, explore other avenues, which we were,
Smart,
which was
I think.
good for us because, we all had different backgrounds anyway.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I didn't mention at Allsops was that we didn't really specialise in a sector so much. So Frankie and Jack had been very workplace focused, and obviously Jack had done a few other things too, but he was expert in workplace, whereas my experience wasn't so much in a sector. It was more sort of creating a style at Allsops.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'd done quite a lot of different types of sector. So my sort of experience had been very much education. I'd done quite a lot of education buildings.
Yeah.
I'd done mixed-use developments, sort of residential developments, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I could sort of come in, and we could kind of come together as like a sort of, we've all
Yeah,
got slightly
different
different
strengths,
experiences
yeah.
and
You
focuses.
took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, to start a business with such a broad and deep,
Yeah. That's been
range
really
of
helpful.
experiences, that's fantastic. And I know it has been a great almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And it will continue to be. But let's kind of bring all that together then. So you had the business plan, all right?
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of right, go, let's make it real.
Yeah.
The timing of that, COVID, starting a business in COVID, same as me, same as
Yeah.
actually quite a few people. And there's smart reasons for doing that. People that have not done it, some of my mentors have said, right, if you're ever going to do something yourself, you do it in what I'm going to call a dip, whether that be a recession, a global pandemic, whatever it may be, because it's just smart. You grow back with that industry, right? Starting at the top, it happens, but it's maybe not the best deliberate move you would make. But let's come back to you. You started in COVID. Some people would say that's mad, crazy, brave, all of that. So let's kind of touch on what was going through your mind when you decided to get your first business cards printed or choose an email address, whatever it was.
I don't think it was more just what happened rather than it being incredibly strategic.
Yeah, I
because
don't think the COVID moment was sort of the catalyst. It was more like where we were in our sort of crossroad in our own careers.
Jack was at a point where he wanted to do something else. I was in a role that, probably wasn't going to be forever. And Maxine was sort of at this crossroads where Will had passed away and she was just thinking about life and a big change had happened. So it was just a coincidence that it all just came together at that moment.
Yeah.
And then I think also just to add this, so it was COVID, but it was also when everyone was working from home.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
we
which was
designed
actually quite good.
offices.
Well, yes, but I think that was actually really good, and I think one of our first and favourite projects
Yeah.
was the Financial Conduct Authority in Edinburgh, and they came to us because of the change.
Yeah,
They
that's
basically
true,
wanted
yeah.
to entice everybody back to the office,
Mm.
and they wanted a wow factor project, and also they wanted to explore all the things, all the different sort of work settings and hybrid work sort of settings that
It's a
come
fantastic case study, by the way. So if anyone's watching, get on the website, which the link will be in the show notes, because that is a beautiful, beautiful building. Yeah.
But
Thank
yeah, I
you,
think
yeah.
thank you very much. But I think that sort of change in workplace was actually super helpful for
Yeah.
us, because everyone wanted to assess and adjust their workplaces, so it brought work. I don't know whether you
Some
found that
people
too.
did, but then there was also the camp of people that were just like, oh my God, what's happened?
That's true. Yeah.
And they were a bit frozen, you know?
But yeah, rabbit and headlights
Yeah.
is definitely the
Yeah.
analogy. Yeah. But
Yeah.
coming back to an entrepreneurial level, though,
Mm.
how did it make you guys feel as business owners? Exactly what you just said there. Everyone's working from home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is our industry going to be? Are we
Yeah.
going to come back to the office? And I know
We were
we are
very
where we are now.
optimistic. We
Yeah, good.
we were just, I think, maybe naive, but we were very optimistic. We started with a bit of a bang because actually our first big project, maybe not our first, I can't remember which came actually first, but one of our first projects was at FCA Edinburgh,
Mhm.
and so that
Yeah.
was a great project with a client who was just fantastic, and we knew before, and so we kind of started, we got off to a really good start.
Yeah.
So it just felt great. I think it got a bit trickier a bit after when we realised that wasn't going to happen like every day. We'd have to fight a bit more for some of the other projects.
I think as well with the working from home thing and starting your own business, everyone was working from home. So I think maybe sometimes when you're sort of talking to someone online and you're doing that whole hybrid working thing, or it wasn't hybrid at the time, but working from home
Yes,
basically
yeah.
on the Teams calls, everyone was at home. So it sort of didn't feel like we had to have an office.
That's true,
There was a nice commonality through everyone, and I always
Yeah.
remember the analogy of it kind of reset everyone to the same level.
Exactly.
Even the
Yeah.
CEOs
that's what I'm trying
of
to
the
say,
top
yeah.
clients were still on the same Teams call with a cat, and they're
Exactly. Yeah.
licking them and the postman at the door and all that kind of
So
stuff.
there wasn't that whole like,
Everyone was
where's
the
your
same.
office
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
which you sometimes sort of lie about. Or
Yeah,
like,
that
you
was.
know.
I mean, we've had an office for a while now, but especially when we were first starting, we didn't have any money, and we were like, we can't afford an office. We
Yeah.
have to work from home. So
So
it
that
actually helped
helps.
us quite a lot. That whole setup.
Definitely, yeah. Well, look, that's a great kind of chapter one if we kind of look at it. Well, chapter 2 and 3, life as an SME, right? I'm an SME, and we're about to be Spark's about to be 5 next month.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
You're really
so
similar to us
birthday,
then,
not
aren't
thank
you?
you very
Yeah.
much. Yeah,
Yeah, we're 5 in
May.
May.
yeah. So there's not much between us in
Yeah.
actual fact. But what's life like as an SME? And I'm going to kind of add a layer to that with the family dynamic as well. What's a day to day kind of what's it like? Yeah.
It has its challenges.
It's quite
but it
like
also
up
has
and
good
down.
things.
Do you know what I mean? It's
No
like
doubt.
you feel it really personally. Like it's your company. So if it does well or doesn't do well, it's quite a personal.
Yeah.
It's your baby, isn't it?
It's your baby, yeah. So I think that if you're working for someone, people care about their jobs, but if you're working for someone else, it's the different relationship to work.
Yes.
Whereas if it's yours, you're kind of like really have to fight for things, and when things are bad, which they have, there've been moments that have not been great. You've got to dig deep and kind of like.
But then, on the flip side, the good times, like project wins and stuff like that, are really
good,
really
almost
great.
euphoric.
You're like,
yeah,
we did it. It's
yeah,
great,
because it's so personal.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that. What's it like from a family dynamic perspective? And I'm gonna say this. Does your dad have a favourite?
Obviously, it's me.
Yeah.
I think that the family thing. So sometimes I love them and sometimes I want to kill them.
Yeah, it's normal, I guess.
So, but it's just normal. It's probably in
Yeah.
all families.
You crossed your arms really quickly on that.
But Maxine and I have worked together before
Yes.
this. So we worked
Yeah.
together.
We know each other pretty
we know
well.
each other very well. We went to university a couple of years apart, but at the same time,
Yeah, we
crossed
overlapped.
over.
We had similar friends.
At the Bartlett,
We hung out together a
hung
lot.
out together. We actually started.
Well, I bet
off-
student nights were brilliant with two sisters.
Yeah,
We
they
did.
were-
We went out
We
loads
went out a
together.
lot. We had a
Yeah,
lot of
I bet,
friends.
Yeah,
in
we know
common and-
each other's friends, and
Yeah.
we're all like
Dancing
very
on the
close.
tables, doing shots.
Lots of dancing on the tables. Absolutely, that's my speciality.
And we worked together. So when we were like students, we did installations together, like art installations.
Yeah, we had
And
our
then
own company.
we had started
the
a
two of
company
us.
before Studio Pringle called Pringle and Pringle.
Called PAP.
Pap, yeah,
PAP,
Pringle and Pringle.
PAP.
Okay. Catchy.
And
Yeah.
Didn't catch on, I presume.
well,
was a
it kind of
different thing.
evolved
Yeah.
into some house extensions and sort of smaller scale architecture.
Yeah.
And then we went out. Then we came to sort of a point where we decided we wanted to do other things, and then we did other things. Then we came back together, for Studio Pringle. So,
Yeah.
but at that point with Jack.
Mhm.
So we have worked
yeah.
together we worked out over 15 years.
Yeah, and I think with the family thing, like we've always been a very close family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've always seen our dad lots before we sort of set up together. And as we already explained, Frankie and I
Yeah.
are very close as sisters.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes down to it, we will always have each other's backs, and we've got such a core sort of relationship that it's really strong bond. And so if there are disagreements, which obviously there are and can be, we get over it pretty quickly and we move on.
You've
you
got
know.
to, and I think that's absolutely critical in any business.
Definitely.
Any
Yeah.
co-founders
Yeah.
have got to be able to have that relationship
Yeah.
where you've got a bit of a disagreement or
Yeah,
difference of
it's
opinion,
good to
you
be
deal
able
with
to
it, you move on, and you carry on that relationship. Add a family layer to it.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, that's got its positives and, as you say, the other side of it. But you're in it now, and you're
Yeah.
going to keep going on that. But I think the family connection will stand you in absolute fantastic stead
Oh,
as
well,
you grow.
fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, no, I
that's an
think it
extra little
does.
bit of connection that not every founder has.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're
that's
not
really
going
good.
anywhere. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, we're not going.
Good.
I think it's funny. Some people
We're not
kind
going to
of
run away from
like.
each other.
I think the people we work with tend to like it. They see it as a positive, and the people we don't work with and maybe don't like it, but we don't work with them. So
Yeah, and damn right, yeah.
yeah.
Damn right. But let's pause on Studio Pringle for one more thing then. So, what's the biggest ongoing challenge that you've got as directors within your own business? And maybe I'm asking this on behalf of other new SMEs, perhaps. What's the biggest ongoing challenge that you've got, and maybe what's your way of working through that? What's the solution or advice we can give to some viewers?
We were talking about this before, and we have slightly different opinions on this. So I'll let Max
Okay,
go
that's good.
first.
Are you sort of talking about I think for me the thing that I've sort of found the most difficult within the business and being like a business owner is having to delegate some of the sort of project work to other people
The
and
stuff she wants to do.
yeah, I love being really involved in the projects.
Okay, yep.
But obviously there are business things to do as well.
Sure.
And running a business, you've got to go out and do sort of new business BD type stuff, and you can't be in all the projects all the time.
Yeah.
And you've got to delegate that to other people. So
Okay. Good.
I have a slightly different take on it, and I think that the thing that I find challenging, I think when you're at university and on your way up the through your career, I think you think every project is going to be this amazing project, and you're going to be doing the most fantastic buildings ever, and they're all going to win the Sterling Prize and everything.
Yeah.
And then the reality is there's some most projects won't win the Sterling Prize.
Yes.
And you've got to do a lot of work that's sort of, more functional and sort of, just
down to earth.
down to earth.
Yeah.
And that's
bread and butter.
very valuable. And it's sort of like, I think I've learned to see that in a slightly different way, more like you're solving different kinds of problems.
Yeah.
Which is sort of, a new perspective I have on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think adjusting to the different types of projects that you need to sort of work on to keep the business running.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to jump on both of those from my perspective, because I
Mm.
can relate to both of those.
Yeah.
From a BD perspective, or a networking perspective, or a just kind of getting yourself out there perspective, we've all got to do that as business owners.
Mm.
But in actual fact, and some people may not believe this, but that doesn't actually come naturally to me.
I can't believe that.
Well,
You're very good
it's-
at it.
It's
very
no,
good,
no.
yeah.
Well, oh, thank you very much. Did you hear that, guys? Did you hear that? Confidence is one thing,
Yeah.
but I'm not a natural business developer or
Yeah.
networker. It's just not in my character. I can go
Yeah.
and talk to anyone about
Mm.
anything, which
Mm.
I find fairly easy. But going out there and having to, I think of it as forced networking.
Yeah.
Yes. The
And
sort
we've
of-
got to do a bit of that sometimes, but it just doesn't come natural to me at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not a massive fan of it. And
Yeah.
actually, over the last kind of year and going forward with Spark and my repositioning into strategy
Yeah.
and client rep and a little bit of non-exec work, I'm being a bit more choosy about how I spend my time and a bit
Yeah.
more strategic about how I network
Yeah. And
Mm.
that's
and,
always a
and
good
business
thing to
development
do.
in a different way. So I can relate to what you're saying there. Equally, I can relate to what you're saying about, but I've done this kind of deliberately, to be fair. I'd love to be on all these, flagship projects that are
Mm.
all over LinkedIn and
Yeah.
they're BCO,
Yeah.
this, that, and this, all these brilliant accolades. Of course, we would all love that. But it's kind of 1 out of 100, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of just wonder sometimes if me as a character, I'm a bit more down to earth.
Yeah.
I'll be very happy with my functional,
Yeah.
down to earth projects that are still making a difference
Yeah.
for those clients. And if I get lucky one day and do a brilliant HQ that's a BCO winner, then fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like to keep my feet on the ground, I guess,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
I think also one thing that I really enjoy sort of along those lines about those other projects, not the sort of the non-BCO winner projects,
Yeah.
is the people.
Yeah.
You get to
Yeah.
meet some really nice people along the way, and I think and that's like within the project team and also the client team, and
Yeah.
a whole mixture.
Absolutely.
And some of our clients have just been so nice just as
Yeah.
people, and you sort of get a real, and it's also interesting, especially in workplace or in any type of building, the more you get to know that person, and then also the business or the whatever that building does, you kind of get an insight into another world, which
Yeah.
is really interesting, and I find that very rewarding.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Beautiful kind of message there. Let's build on that then. So let's kind of get to some clients and projects,
Yeah.
and how you guys operate. So we've got the good old Reba Plan of Works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the episode's aired yet, but in season 1, I may have upset the Reba. So we'll see. They've not, we couldn't have
We know
publicised.
it well.
But,
Yeah, I may have upset them a little bit. We've got increasing legislation. We've
Yeah,
got Gun
yeah.
Safety
Oh,
Act. And
yes.
just to be clear, there's fantastic good reasons for
Yeah.
legislation.
Yeah.
But it does add a layer of complexity to projects.
Yeah.
We've got
It does,
strategic
and
leadership versus functional design. There's so much involved in our industry.
Yeah.
But from a design perspective, where do you feel the industry is, and how does Studio Pringle deal with that? I guess my
Yeah.
real question is, thinking of from a client perspective, how do you support your clients? Do they get what you do? Do you kind of think that some clients maybe
Yeah.
are kind of maybe focused on some of the wrong things? There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me what you think.
Well, I think architects sort of cover a lot of ground, and maybe some clients don't quite understand that. And there is a lot of sort of, it depends on the client really, whether they're a lay client or
course,
an
of course.
experienced client. But we do come across quite a lot of clients that don't understand a lot of the new legislation. We have to explain it to them in quite a lot of detail. They get quite worried, especially with some of this BSA stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
Try explaining that to a client. That's scary.
And
Yeah, especially if they're
and-
foreign, so they're not from this, like,
Yeah.
they're not from the UK, so
Yeah.
they don't have it in their country. They're like, what's this? And get a bit nervous about it.
Yeah, and then you send them the client care letter, and they sort of are like, "What?" So
yeah.
breaking that down for them so it's easy to sort of understand, and they don't sort of get overly concerned about something.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of ground to cover as an architect that isn't just design.
Yeah,
You know, there's a lot of problem solving. There's a lot of sort of management in terms of the team, especially if you're like lead designer. And yeah, I think the sort of added layer and maybe it's not necessarily the responsibility or sort of legality of it, because we would have always had to have done that with the sort of regulations and things.
Yeah.
It's the admin side of it. It's the recording of it that makes it more work.
Absolutely.
So explaining that to a client is
interestingly,
quite hard.
this podcast is yours, but if you listen to Rod from Marino Massey,
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
he said exactly the same thing. This Building Safety Act thing is what we should have all been doing anyway.
Yes, it's
now
for
we're just having to
all the
formalise it
Yeah,
and record
completely
it,
agree on that,
which actually for me was
Almost.
also a little bit of a penny drop moment. To be fair, we should have been doing a lot of this.
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
So that's a great point. What do you think, Frankie?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just formalising a process that was already happening. And I think people get a bit sort of nervous about it, and it is more work, and it can be stressful. And I think that building control are often very overworked with it. So you're often trying to get hold of someone
I sympathise
and you just
with those
can't
guys
get an
just
answer.
now.
Yeah, I think they're having a tough
I
time.
hope those guys are getting some decent bonuses
Yeah.
where they are, because man, they are working
Yeah,
hard.
there's some
And putting
challenges in
their
that.
name.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
putting their name to a lot of things, but they're also delegating more to the clients and the teams. Rightly so. We've all got to take our share in that responsibility. But if ever there was a big curveball to the industry, those guys are feeling it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been some companies that have really struggled, and some that haven't made it. So
Definitely. But there's been a lot of being acquired as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Complicated
there's a world
times, yeah.
domination thing going on with some building
Yeah.
control companies. But that's fair dues. Hello, me again. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to give a few seconds to our sponsors. Yes, it's us, Spark London. At Spark London, we are not just project managers, we are project strategists. And yes, there is a huge difference. Clients come to us to avoid the same old project mistakes, cost overruns and delays by thinking strategically about their project. To find out more, visit us at spark.london or find us on LinkedIn. All links are in the show notes. Now back to the conversation. Okay, that's great. What about leadership versus design? And I think, Maxine, you mentioned problem solvers.
We are
and
problem solvers, aren't we?
styling. Like you said, there's a lot to cover. How do we,
There is.
you as architects, bring it all together into a great product?
Well, it's a challenge, but
Yeah.
that's part of our job, and also why it's so interesting to be an architect. I think I've already explained how I've come from an art background, and so I'm super interested in the styling and the design side of it and making it sort of creative. But then I myself even sometimes get wrapped up in the sort of the other problem solving that is still creative but not necessarily visual. And then sort of go, oh gosh, I've got to remember to do all the bits that there is. There's quite a lot.
Yeah.
There's many hats you have to wear as an architect, and then
Yeah.
there's more hats you have to wear as an architect business runner.
Yeah, that's
So-
true.
so
Yeah,
you're just
if
like-
you're running a business as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You've got to do the BD, you've got to do the accounts, got to do the
The cash flow
Yes.
forecast,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
pain
you
of
gotta
our
do it all.
life.
You've just got
Yeah.
to do it. Which, unless you've kind of been there and done it, it's hard for some people to relate.
Yeah.
And I've said that, and I'm very mindful of my viewers here. I've said that a few times on this episode. It sounds like I'm being really derogatory to people that have not started the business. I'm not. I don't mean it that way
Yeah.
at all. But man, your day, you don't stop. You
Yeah.
don't switch off.
Yeah. Oh no,
You
never.
wake
yeah.
up at silly o'clock in the morning thinking about, oh, I didn't do that. All
Yeah.
that
You
kind
never
of
have
stuff.
proper holidays.
No, you don't. It's a very different thing.
It's hard to know exactly which one is, the one to focus on. I
Yeah.
don't think you can really have like one specific focus. You've got to just keep
Jump
sort of
around. Yeah.
juggling,
Yes.
Keep
Keep your tap dancing
balancing.
shoes on. Is
Yeah,
the way I think
balancing
of it.
plates.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I think though, I can see the benefit. I can understand why for some people it might not be what they want to do though, because you have to give a lot of yourself to it.
Yeah.
I think for us, both our parents run their own businesses as we were growing up, so
Yeah.
that was sort of
That's
I just
true.
expected to do it.
So
Do
there's
you
a
know
little
what I
bit
mean?
in your blood then. And
Yeah.
It's definitely in our blood.
Yeah, it's
that's
in our
brilliant.
blood, yeah.
We've always wanted to do it. It was always,
Yeah.
we started a company together before this as well.
Yeah.
So, it was always on the cards, and it was sort of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it wasn't an if, it was a when really for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sure. Well, I've got no doubt that you will smash it, and you'll continue to smash it. Let's build on that slightly.
Yeah.
So let's kind of come back to some industry stuff, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Taking what you're doing and the plan for Studio Pringle. There's plenty bigger firms out there we've mentioned a couple of them. We won't give them any more airtime. They're big enough. They're big enough, all right? And we're all friends with those people, okay? But at where you are in the market, I'm keen to hear, and I think the viewers will be keen to hear what you see as industry trends. The bigger firms are publicising. They've got newsletters. They've got LinkedIn stuff going on left, right and centre. But as a smaller practice, what trends are you seeing in the industry?
Well, workplace.
Yeah, workplace trends. There are some. It's funny because I think that if you'd asked us this question a year ago, you'd have a different answer.
Yeah.
But I think everyone said, oh, everything's going to change post-COVID, and it did. But then it sort of changed again. So I think that in workplace we see that everyone, even if you're in the office, people are having way more video conferencing calls.
Yeah, there are things here to stay, aren't there, from the post-pandemic workplace, and video calls are it really. Teams,
I think
Zooms.
it's interesting because before the pandemic, it would be like the assumption that you would have a meeting in person, and then you'd have to factor in traveling time, then you'd have the meeting, then you'd have a little bit of chit chat, and it would be
meeting after the meeting,
and then
and
you
the
go to the
offline
pub.
chat.
Yeah,
exactly.
all that kind of stuff.
I quite like
one
that,
meeting
to be
could have been
honest.
like half a day.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that's
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah.
And now we have these sort of, now the assumption, it's sort of the expectation that it'll be online, and it's sort of unusual maybe, or less usual if it's in person.
Have in person, yeah.
So you've got these offices full of video conferencing calls, and that has a very different requirement for an office.
Yeah.
You suddenly got huge acoustic demands.
Yeah.
And then also
Zoom booths, phone booths.
But you also, the breakout area suddenly becomes much more important because you have a totally different type of interaction there.
Yeah.
So there are changes in the office that they started to encroach, but they've become more. And I think the other thing is, I think people thought this hybrid working meant that people weren't going to be in the office, so they would need smaller offices.
Yeah.
But we've seen that sort of change a lot.
No, that doesn't seem to be the case.
People have the same size offices or maybe slightly smaller, but nowhere near what they thought they were going to have in reduction. But they need way better acoustics because everyone's on a Zoom call.
Yeah, I think everyone comes into the office to collaborate, to be with other people.
Yeah.
So they're in at the same time, really.
Yeah.
I think people thought that there was going to be this sort of balance of some people would come in on certain days and other people would come on other days.
There was the good old people to desk ratio or desk to people ratio.
They wouldn't need so many desks.
Which was banded about so much.
That hasn't really happened.
Kind of like, sector dependent, I would probably say.
In our experience, I'd say.
Yeah.
And actually, most people are either not in on a Friday or a Monday, and the middle of the week is full.
Everyone's there, and you need that many desks or however.
Yeah.
So, but I think those two things, the Teams calls and the Friday home working, are here to stay. Even when sort of firms are saying they're forcing everyone to come back to work, I think it's not actually the full week. It's more sort of
maybe 4 days.
Yeah, 4 days a week, 3 days a week.
I relate to everything you're saying there. A couple of observations from me, and bear in mind, I'm not in the kind of 200,000 square feet project world. In fact, kind of 100,000 square feet is and below is where I tend to operate. But across multiple sectors. Yeah. And I do think the sector has a lot to dictate in that sense of what that workplace is. A law firm, and I know you guys have done law firms, is very different to an R&D lab with office bolted on versus a tech startup, that kind of thing. And I've done a bit of all of that.
Right.
So I do think it's sector driven.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we have the same
the lawyers
experience.
are in more?
Yeah, so in some of the law firms that we've been working on, they're still quite traditional in the way they use offices. They're still very cellular. Not all, but most. And they're kind of in the office, that's how they work.
Yeah.
I think it's different, I always think lawyers have to read. So they just need that quiet time.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
And so they'll go to the office for that. So they have a much more traditional way of working, generally speaking.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, and like I say, so I see a lot of that. But the core trends of what you're mentioning, I absolutely do get on board with. But another observation I've got which has spurred on my pivot into strategy,
Yeah.
is, and again, it's not every client, every project, but I have reflected over my 20 plus years of being contractor, consultant at two of the largest consultancies in the world, and then Spark. The client base I operate in, there's definitely a bit of a broken system there. The architecture and the technology, when we're talking about collaboration, is very rarely joined up properly. Add to that an ESG layer.
Yeah.
Those dots are very rarely joined up.
Yeah.
And I've seen great projects, absolutely, but I reflect and reflect almost every day, in fact, and I'm writing a piece just now about that reflection, where there's lessons to learn.
Yeah.
We need to join the dots better, but to do that, we need to think smarter in the early stages.
Yeah.
Whether that be a stay versus go feasibility, or it be a definite move, or even a shell and core refurbishment as a landlord or developer, whatever it is. There's a strategy piece that is fundamentally missing.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
In many cases.
Because a lot of these clients don't know what they want to do and what's right for them.
They don't. They absolutely don't.
Especially post-pandemic hybrid working.
absolutely.
I also would just add to that sometimes to have a strategy piece that's not incentivized by anything other than getting the right result for the client is really
Yes.
important. So there's no
It's
added.
independent.
It's an independent perspective.
100%,
I think
yeah.
that's really critical, because as soon as you add in some other reason why you're,
Yeah.
there could be the pressure to do the wrong thing for the client.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we've had clients
Yeah.
actually that have come to us without having the strategy piece,
Yeah.
and then halfway through the project decided that they've changed their mind.
Yeah.
And they don't actually think that what they wanted to do originally is the right thing for them, and they actually need to go
we've
away
had
and
that a lot.
Absolutely.
basically do a strategy piece.
And again, it's great to kind of bring you half onto my soapbox in actual
Yeah.
fact, because I've got this real passion to try. I'm not going to do it single-handedly, I'm sure, and I'm not going to affect change across the industry, but I'm determined to influence some change.
Yeah.
That strategy piece is so obvious,
Yeah,
and I am in the
100%.
middle of making a kind of guarantee, perhaps, and I can say it right here, right now. I can guarantee, if a client brought a project strategist in earlier,
Yeah.
to really connect the business with what that future project can
Yeah.
be or should be, I can guarantee I will save them time and money.
Yeah,
Now,
I
that's a
was gonna
very
say-
easy
Yeah.
thing to say.
I think in addition to that, so
Yeah.
the from your sort of PM perspective, the strategy, and from our architectural perspective, the feasibility, like
Yeah.
a really good like joined up strategy and
Yeah.
feasibility study,
Yeah,
that's so valuable, because
absolutely.
you can waste so much time and effort and money
So
going down the wrong road,
Yeah.
all too often, and again, I use this analogy. We're going down a bit of a rabbit hole here, but I think it's really important.
Yeah.
All too often, we as professional teams, and certainly as project managers, I get brought in and out 3 to 6 months too late,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you can only do the best with what you've got.
Yeah.
The budget's been set.
Yeah.
They think they've got a brief,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or they've not. They've got an ESG aspiration,
Yeah.
right? And this is a true story. We were halfway down a procurement or a tender process, and then someone senior in this particular client said, "Oh yeah, we're going to have an ESG accreditation."
Right.
Okay, that changes everything that we've been
Yeah.
working on for the last few months, because we are about to go to tender tomorrow, right? So right? And
Yeah, we've
I'm
had that.
sorry, but by the way, I asked you about your ESG aspirations nearly 4 months ago. All right, so
Yeah.
and okay, we roll with the punches, and clients sometimes do need to pivot. We've got to remember, as consultants, clients have got a day job, and their day job is to move with their market
Yeah.
and their business needs, and we've got to pivot accordingly. That's our job as consultants. But you should have a strategist in the room to try and steer and guide and extract that brief a little bit,
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
so that when a project team does come on board, we've got a far better chance of making a fantastic project out
Yeah.
of it, rather than value engineer from day one,
Yeah.
lift a ceiling tile down because somebody didn't want to pay for due diligence or a survey,
Yeah.
and find something that undermines the whole design. There's some really easy wins, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
And I've
Especially
just
with
stole
existing-
5 minutes of your
No, no,
airtime.
it's
I'm really
okay.
sorry. I'm really sorry. Let's bring it back to you. Bring it back to you. But building on that, procurement. Now, I've got some real strong opinions about procurement.
Mhm.
The listeners will know this. And I'm going to call it out. Most of our industry tries to put procurement in a very clear box.
Mm.
It's design and build for whatever bloody reasons, right? And sometimes those reasons are right, sometimes they're bloody wrong, all right?
Yeah.
Or it's traditional.
But there's
Be-
so many
but just
different versions
because
of both of
There
those
are
things.
there
so many
is.
different
You've got the
versions,
bit in the
yeah.
middle, right? The hybrid, the detail and
Yeah.
build bit.
Yeah.
Okay, I personally, I've got a different kind of contrarian view to it when it comes to projects and the advice I give clients. Try not to put it in a basket. Let me do the job of understanding your business, your
Mhm.
goals, what we're trying to achieve, what the constraints are.
Mhm.
If we've got a time constraint, if we've got a budget constraint,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you want ESG, really, really important.
Yeah.
Right, that actually might feed into a different procurement route, believe it or
Yeah.
not. So try not to put it in baskets. Let's kind of understand the why, and there'll be pros and cons to each, and find an optimum route. And it doesn't actually have to be one or the other. There's
Mm.
different ways of looking
Yeah.
at it. So, and I could probably talk about it all day. But I'm keen to know your thoughts. But one thing I've seen the rise of is, because independent, you mentioned independence, very
Mhm.
important, is an independent monitoring role
Yeah.
Mm.
from project managers, contract administrators, and architects
Yeah.
and designers. And I've kind of seen it, the real value in that. I have.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can kind of go along on D&B if you want. Yes, you're putting a lot of trust in that setup. Fair enough. But this independent monitoring role, I find it quite interesting, and I've seen it more. Have you come across that?
Yeah, so we actually do quite a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So I think there has to be a particular setup that allows that to happen.
Yeah.
So for some projects, it works really well. It definitely doesn't work for all projects, so it's sort of
Sure.
very specific.
Mhm.
But where they've got a very tight program, but quite a reasonable budget, and they can afford to, and quality is really important to them. So that they need to do it fast, but it needs to be good.
Mm.
That's the kind of scenario where we often come in. So we
Okay.
might work in collaboration with a D&B firm.
Yeah.
They would run the design program, Rebuild 1 to 6, and we would, along with a client side sort of QS, PM, and MEP consultant, would monitor the quality of that design and construction throughout the process. And I think we add this extra value by just these people know what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
not they the best ones are very, very good, but it's just the speed that they're working at.
D&B firms, you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. Yeah.
And so there is a variety, as with every industry, there's a variety of
Yes.
quality in that
Yes.
market.
Yes.
Some are less good, some are very good. We've
So
worked with
tactful. I love that. That was so tactful. So tactful. Good. But you're right. Yeah, you're right.
but I think that the real issue there is the speed, and it's like you're checking, have you done this, have you done that?
Yeah.
And it's just sort of to make sure the client gets what they want, but also understands what they're getting.
Yeah.
So I think that often there can be a miscommunication between one party to another, and the client might think, oh, I'm going to get amazing acoustics and this lovely high quality furniture, or whatever they think they're
Yeah.
getting. And actually it's making sure they understand that this area of acoustics is going to be slightly less, and this area is going to be better, and
Yep.
just transparency.
Yeah, I think it's also having another pair of eyes for the client, isn't it? So it's
Yeah.
sort of like checking in to make sure that all the things that we would always think about have been thought about, and they might not sometimes know about those sorts
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah, why would they know?
Yeah,
it's
some
not
of them are
their,
lay clients, so they
their-
won't be doing. And as you were saying earlier, that it's not their full-time day job; they've got
No.
other things to do. So,
and
this
it's
is
not
sort
their
of
area of
add-on.
expertise. They
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly that. And because it's not their day job, and again, we as consultants, I think we sometimes forget that our clients are initiating a
other
project
things.
for a business reason.
Yeah.
They've got a functional reason to do this, and it's not their day job. I sometimes think we as consultants can lose sight of that. Sometimes we've got to
Yeah.
check ourselves.
Yeah,
I
it
also
depends on the
think
client,
some
but
of the
definitely.
client teams that have got smaller, maybe
Yeah.
Yes.
in recent years, I think,
Yeah.
going back a while, I feel like client teams were bigger. They had more resource. They could dedicate more sort of
Yes.
time to
Yeah.
things, and I think that that's been squeezed for a
Definitely.
whole range of reasons.
It has.
And so they just have less time. So you need to facilitate
Yeah.
that process so it's sort of
Yeah.
easier for them.
Totally agree. And again, here's me in my soapbox, but But because of all those reasons, that's why I think the right advice at the right time is so important. Now, sadly, I come across this quite a lot, where let's call them a less sophisticated or experienced client. They will probably listen to the first one or two voices they hear and go down that path.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll get lucky and that'll be all right. Or sometimes those voices will say the right thing.
Yeah.
But in my experience, more often than not, that could be a D&B contractor who have got a frankly bigger sales team than they've got actual project delivery team.
Yes.
It could be an agent who's very transaction driven.
Yeah.
And sadly, no agents have asked to come on the show right now because I seem to have this kind of perspective on that. But I want to say there's great D&B firms out there that are good, they're diligent, and they do look after their clients. But equally, to pick up on the point, it really matters that they're getting the right advice at the right time. And sometimes it's hard to see the trees for the woods, to use a very basic analogy.
There's so much out there. There's so many different ways of doing it. There's so much advice, and it is confusing. I think it's confusing for everyone, even people in the industry. So if it's not your day job and you don't sort of actually know, then it's kind of quite easy to get
So
lost.
with that, let's kind of put a full stop at that then. How do we or you you as architects, I mean, kind of fix that? If we were to kind of have a client sat here right now and we were to kind of say, well, there's a different way. How do you do it at Studio Pringle when you go and meet potentially new client? And I guess this is a slightly leading question. You go in there with your architecture hat on, definitely. But clients sometimes need more than that.
Yeah, and
how do you deal with it?
We do actually, we have done some sort of due diligence type work. So it's quite early on, and we've gone around buildings with clients and things and sort of helped them pick their new premises, which is really helpful because I think we can kind of offer quite a lot of advice with that sort of thing. And then also getting quite early to help them choose the sort of best premises for them. And
the route they want to go down. And,
exactly. And the procurement route as well. And it does depend on the client and what their sort of most important things are. I think, as Frankie said, if the client's got no time but quite a good budget, then, you know, certain procurement routes are best. But if they sort of want to, I think as well, if they know the industry quite well, they like to actually pick and choose their consultants and you know, be a part of that process and be sort of a bit more involved maybe. So if they're an experienced client, then they I think they quite enjoy that. So that's when I think a traditional sort of procurement route is a good idea.
I think also, building on what Maxine is saying, often when you have very complex stakeholders, that I think you really see the value of a traditional procurement route then, because you have the time to really spend time with the client and get to know their organisation and the ins and outs of how they work and meet with all the different stakeholder groups. And that's, you know, when it really works very well.
Yeah, I agree. My full stop at the end of this, definitely coming from a project delivery perspective, both kind of taking my project management hat on and putting my strategy hat on now. Agree with everything you're saying, but some of the bits that are kind of misunderstood, or I get a blank look sometimes if I explain it this way. Let's take the Reba Planner Works as an example. Everyone talks about, well, we'll go up to stage 2, 3, 4, blah, blah. But what does that mean, right? Because numerous times, even as I speak, okay, there's certain parts of a design package that might be at stage 4.
Yeah.
But there's bits that are at stage 2. They've not been developed enough.
That is true.
Right?
You can have that.
And then you've got the CDP aspect, which can either be really, really simple or really, really complex, but it really matters. Okay. So when we're talking to clients as kind of consultant team, I feel it's an obligation to me as a strategist or a PM, whatever that is to kind of keep everyone balanced in that view. And sadly, I've got to say, some consultancies, whether it be design, MEP, whatever, they may say and think they're at stage 4. You're not really. Sorry to say, you're not. Is that going to get priced accurately?
Yeah.
Is there going to be loads of provisional sums? Is there going to be risk? All that boring project management stuff.
Yeah.
But it bloody matters. It changes
Yes.
the dynamic.
And we have actually
These
been through
decisions
this.
are
Yeah.
really important to you know, I think for us when we do a design and build procurement route, the later the better and the more detailed the better, in our opinion. Because
or even when you do
you can't
contractors design portion,
Yeah.
you need to be so specific
Yeah.
as what you want them to design, like
Yes.
exactly.
there are key things you need to make sure that
And
you
why?
get across.
And why?
Yeah.
And why? That could probably be a whole different discussion in itself. But when it comes to kind of, and I am putting my full stop here, apologies, but there's different ways to look at it. What you send out the door really matters. As a strategist, my job is to connect that design quality to the quality of the tender returns, to the quality of the exclusions in that tender,
Yeah.
and how the contractor is going to deal with all of that, and the contract amendments, which puts all the risk onto a contractor, which we seem to love to do.
Yeah.
And then sadly we question why the contractor pushes back, and that wastes time and money.
Yeah.
And then we've got to rein it back a bit. That's where I come at strategic level these days.
Yeah.
Zoom out,
That'd be
join the
helpful.
dots that no one else is seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's my full stop to that. Right, thank you for letting me whinge about that. Right, we're coming up to the close here now, or kind of getting there. So, quickish kind of question, given everything we spoke about, the next 5 years for the industry, sum it up in 1 or 2 sentences each. Where do you think
For
we're
the
going to be?
industry or for Studio Pringle?
Both.
So I think for Studio Pringle, we are looking and pursuing slightly larger projects than we had in the first 5 years. And that is something that we're very excited about, and we want to keep going with. And we're also looking into doing hospitality, quite a bit of
Cool.
hospitality.
Yeah, so we're working on a couple of hospitality projects at the moment. One is a sort of very well-known cinema in Mayfair. It's a really exciting project.
Ooh. Can I
Yeah.
come to the opening of that, please? That would be great, yeah. Okay.
And it's a really, really exciting opportunity that
Brilliant.
Yeah.
so more of them, please.
Great.
Yeah, and we see as well that the
Sorry.
hotel sector is buzzing a little bit at the moment.
Yeah,
So
we've got other opportunities in that
we're
we're
looking
working
into some
on.
opportunities with that.
I think also we haven't touched on this, but AI, I think
yeah.
that's a massive change in the industry. Of course, every
Everything.
profession.
Everything, yeah.
But I mean, we are using AI
We are
in so many
lot.
ways.
Yep.
In our work, in our day-to-day work.
Yeah.
And it's just changed so much of what we can do. We can work as a small company. We can get so much more done with
Yeah.
a small team,
Yeah.
especially a small, knowledgeable team. You know, we have quite experienced. Our team are quite experienced. And so we can manipulate it. You know, you have to curate it. You have to be very careful with how
Yes.
you use it. But our team do that.
But you can get great leverage
And we
out of
can
it.
get great
Yeah.
results from it. So
Yeah.
we've had some really exciting project wins recently. And it's not because of, but, you know, it was facilitated
Yes, yeah.
by using
It's
AI,
contributed to
different tools within AI.
That's really, and you see that more over the next kind of 5 years
Yeah,
within Studio
100%,
Pringle,
yeah.
but the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a given.
Yeah,
I
you've
think
got
that's
to
a
use
given.
it as a tool.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people are a bit scared of it, but
Yeah.
we're not. We're really
Yeah.
excited by it.
No,
and
rightly so.
You have to, it does weird things though. I mean, like,
It's-
so you have
it
to
goes
control
rogue.
it.
yeah.
But
And you need to be alert to that. And
Yeah.
you also need to control it and make sure that you're happy with the design
Yeah.
or with whatever you're using it for.
Absolutely.
So it needs that human sort of help.
The human in the loop, as they
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
But I think actually when it comes to design, I'm putting myself in your shoes. It's more than just the human in the loop kind of in speech marks. The curation piece is
Yeah.
You've got
super
to curate.
important.
It's very curious. I mean, I'll
super
just give you an example of some of the strange things it does, which is interesting. So we were working on an image for a pitch, and we reworked, like, you know, lots and lots and lots, like maybe tens of iterations on this image using AI, and it was massively sped up by AI. But then it just randomly turned all the door handles purple. And we were like, what?
That is very random.
Or it added like 2 columns.
Yeah, and we were just, you have
In the
to
middle
be
of the
really on
room.
your guard
Yeah,
to
you
work
really
with
do,
it, because
yeah.
we were just like, what? We didn't ask for that.
Wow.
And the person that was working on it hadn't noticed because they were focused on other things.
Right,
Yeah.
And then it took someone else to be like, why are there 2 columns there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
The
it's
purple door
interesting.
handles is very interesting.
It's
Yeah.
very
But
bizarre.
maybe when you win a fantastic, funky
Yeah.
hotel next year,
Yeah.
then maybe they want purple door handles, and maybe it will work.
Well, you know,
Okay.
we changed the door handles, but
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
saying, like, it's a tool. You can't let it have its own
No, you
life.
can't.
You've got to
It's-
work with
it's
it,
really,
yeah,
really
you've got
important.
to,
iterate with it.
Great. Well, look, it's great to know that the next 5 years for Studio Pringle, I've got some exciting ideas and opportunities out there. Fantastic. I'm going to be keeping an eye on you, and hopefully we will work together one
Yes,
day.
That would be
absolutely.
brilliant.
We absolutely will. So listen, guys, thank you very much. We covered a lot there,
Yeah.
but we're going to have a little bit of fun on the way out,
Oh,
if
God,
that's
okay.
okay. We're kind of we've not got much time, so don't overthink it. All right.
Okay.
Down there, you've got a beautifully branded Spark bag, the bag of destiny. Anyone can grab it. And make sure you get a bit of product placement for the camera, all right? So ooh, Spark. Right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go in there, you're going to grab a number each.
So what do I do? Do I put it back once I've seen the
No,
number?
no,
Okay, yeah.
it's not.
Got
No,
it.
it's not bingo.
I don't know.
Well, it kind of is bingo, I guess. And then you're going to tell me your number, and we will get into thinking on our feet. So, what have you got?
7.
7. Okay, 7's good. What have you got?
4.
Right, you need to choose another number. Oh, no, actually, no, 4's fine. Sorry,
Oh,
4's fine.
Okay.
Right, think on your feet. We'll go with you. Number 4 is future you.
Oh, future.
Future
me.
you, okay? Don't
Okay.
overthink it, but you are to leave yourself a 30-second voice note for your future self.
Okay.
It could be tomorrow, it could be 5 years from now, it can be about whatever you want it to be, but you're leaving yourself a voice note. Go.
Oh, okay. I think be bold and be brave, because I think when we have done that in the past, it has always worked out, and when we haven't done it, it's been a shame.
Brilliant. Beautiful. That's a,
That
beautiful
was
voice
good.
note. Yeah, absolutely. Great, good. Right, Frankie, you've got number 7, which is recommends.
Mhm.
Give our listeners a big fat recommend. It could be your favourite podcast at spark.london. It could be your favourite podcast, an app, a playlist, a TED Talk. Recommend something for the viewers.
Okay. This is actually not really related to
Doesn't have to
our
be.
industry,
Brilliant.
but Prof G, he's great. I love him.
Prof G.
Yeah, do you know
You've
him?
asked her the right question. She loves podcasts.
Yeah,
No, who's
Prof G,
Prof G?
he's kind of he's an entrepreneur. He's American. He lives in
Okay.
London. He talks about the economy, but he also talks about like life in general and sort
Right.
of dynamics in society.
Have I not come across
He's
this
Yeah,
guy?
really
he's really
good.
good.
He's really
I
good.
know him
Do you
too.
know him?
Yeah. No,
No, I don't know
think-
him,
is
but-
he
Could have got him on the
Yeah,
pod.
He's American, yeah.
Okay, so Prof G, so that's a very good recommend.
Yeah,
is it?
yeah.
Oh, very, very cool. Okay, great.
Cool.
So that wasn't too hard, was it? That was
Yeah,
all right.
that was good,
yeah.
that was fine.
Good. Right, guys, thank you very, very much. Great chat there.
Great.
And yeah,
Thank
we'll,
you
we'll
too.
keep talking.
Absolute
Yeah,
pleasure.
absolutely.
And
Very
yeah.
kind, very kind.
Really
Thank you
thank
very, very much.
Great.
Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I know that you will agree that was a fantastic conversation. We covered a hell of a lot there, actually, in a good bit of detail, but there's plenty more discussions that we can have. Please do check out these guys' website. All the links will be in the show notes. Of course, please do like, subscribe, and share. Yes, I'm that guy now that's got to say that. Check out our links too. If you or someone you know needs some strategic project advice and client representative work, then please do get in touch. Until next time, thank you very much.